Believe it or not, this guy actually has friends.
Nice.
This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Now we're talking. Was this yours?
I feel like we should get in the car and start driving to Laramie.
This does feel like a Laramie song. Nice. All right, Lloyd. This one's a winner. All right, joining us now, I can't imagine what it was like hanging out with you yesterday. Jay Stevens, hockey insider, also host of the Utah Puck Report at KSLSports.com. Jay, how much fun was that one from your perspective?
What an amazing game. Just so much fun. Definitely worth getting up for, right? Like, I know a lot of people were wondering if they were actually going to set the alarm clock. And I mentioned this on my show. We talk a lot about firefighters. You're not supposed to wake up and be put into intense situations right away. We're trying to lessen that as a firefighter. But that's exactly what happened yesterday. We set our own alarms. We got up early, and that game was intense. I had to remind myself to breathe.
How much of look, you've spent a lot of time between the pipes. What you saw yesterday, where does that rank in terms of some of the best individual goaltending you've ever seen?
Yeah, that is the biggest game somebody can ever play in. And Connor Hellebuck, has been bashed a little bit about not being a clutch goaltender in playoffs for Winnipeg, but I think he really proved himself. That's the biggest stage. That's the biggest game. The most pressure you can feel. It's one and done. You're kind of the underdog, and to go in there and just refuse to lose was amazing to watch. And you could tell it just kept inspiring the rest of the team, and he just made some ridiculous saves. I think there were a couple, too, that he just, closed his eyes and hoped for the best, and it worked out. And that happens as a goaltender. You know what you should do, and sometimes you just can't do it. You do something, and you make a save. So to see him play like that, I think, has got to be a huge relief for him. And what a huge thing for us to know that you can ride goaltending and win a gold medal like that.
Jay, how did you celebrate?
I just started screaming in my house. I scared my cats. I have 2 cats. I just started clapping, and I was the only one awake. So I was by myself, which is kind of sad, but I was so pumped. Just started clapping, woke everybody up, made sure everybody got up and to enjoy the moment and enjoy the medal and enjoy that ceremony with Johnny Gaudreau's kids. Just such an amazing experience from beginning to end.
With the timing of the Mammoth coming here and obviously this gold medal now coinciding with that general time frame, what does it do? Do you think this has an effect locally in the culture of hockey here in Utah?
100%. You look at those are 2 major things that have major impacts on an area, right? Bringing an NHL team to a market. We've seen it grow. We've seen what's happened in Tampa Bay. We even seen what was happening in Phoenix. They were growing. They produced one of the best ever scorers in the NHL in Austin Matthews. That wouldn't have happened if there wasn't an NHL team there. You saw it in LA. You're seeing it in Florida. And to see that happening now and to see the gold medal be won and how many people that inspired 46 years ago to become, hockey players with the Miracle on Ice, those 2 major things, you're going to see a ton of new participants in hockey in the state of Utah. And this is going to become a hockey state. It was already on its way thanks to the NHL, and the gold medal is just going to get so many more people interested in the sport and wanting to try it. And once you try it, you're hooked.
So, and by the way, 1,000% agree with that, because a lot of times we'll watch something in the Olympics and be like, wow, that's a cool moment. And then you don't think about it for 4 years because it's not available to you. But now that you can recreate that same kind of magic by going to a Mammoth game and seeing these same players playing professionally with that same level of intensity, it's only going to skyrocket things. Now, for those of us that aren't necessarily hockey aficionados, there was a lot made of the 3-on-3. For a guy that's been around the league or been around the sport a long time, are you a fan of the 3-on-3 for overtime?
I'm not a fan of the 3-on-3 for overtime. I wasn't a fan in 2014 when it went to 4-on-4, which was the same thing they were doing for the NHL. I understand that those are the rules of the game as they are played, and I don't think you would have heard a peep from Canada had they have won that game. So I think it's kind of sad to hear everybody complaining about it that way. Yeah, it would have been cool. Who knows how much longer it could have gone on or or how many cool things would have happened if we just would have gone 5-on-5 sudden death like the NHL does in playoffs and in the Stanley Cup. But that's not the situation. And, you watch the World Cup, you watch, massive soccer games that get settled on penalty kicks that are, 90% unstoppable. At least both teams had a fair chance here. It didn't come down to just one minor mistake. It came down to two major mistakes. It came down to a huge gamble on the part of the U.S. Makar pinched on that play, which most of the time he wouldn't. But if Makar would have turned that puck over at our own blue line and you already had Jack Hughes trying to blow the zone and go with the puck, that would have been a 2-on-1 down low, or maybe even a 2-on-0 with Canada down low. So that is a very tight niche, right? Like, that's a very tight string to be strung right there as far as who's going to win or lose based on a play. It's just a couple lucky bounces for the U.S. or a couple bad bounces, and it's a whole different game. So it's too bad they go 3-on-3, but they go on 3-on-3, and still the best team is going to win.
So when you have one thing about hockey, when you make a mistake or you get hit with and you have to spend some time in the box, people know about it. And I like the fact that Hughes was like, look, we had that 4-minute power play and I screwed it up with a high stick. And then it led to Canada having, I think, like a minute 11 on their power play near the end of the game. It's tied up. And all he's thinking of, did I just lose my country a gold medal? What's that like when you are on display? And I know you were between the pipes, but when you have a mistake like that, everybody knows about it, and you're just praying for dear life you didn't cost your team.
Yeah, you could see it on Sam Bennett's face for Team Canada too, right?
Yeah.
When he actually high-sticked Jack Hughes. He was going to the bench. You could see you're like, that guy looks like he's sick to his stomach because he probably just cost his team the gold medal. And again, the biggest game on the biggest stage, the pressure's huge. You saw everybody playing, there was no open space out there, and that one tiny mistake should have cost Canada the game with the 4-minute double minor, and came really close to costing the U.S. with just that minute left over in Jack Hughes penalty. It's just the most helpless feeling, and you're just begging your team to bail you out, and you're just hoping that you get the lucky bounce, and that you don't want to be the guy that goes down as the guy that cost you the gold medal.
Jack Hughes, after the goal and in his interview, he talked about how the American Hockey Brotherhood. He talked about how that that is so strong. For those new to it, give us kind of describe what that is, what that brotherhood's like, and what it means.
Yeah, it's I talk about this on my show all the time. The weird thing about hockey is how close you get with all the other hockey players. And there are times, even growing up, for a lot of these guys, they grew up playing against each other, and then at some time got put in the U.S. National Development Program, and then so they played with each other, they've known each other, and you just get this bond where even if you're on the other team, like you can get on the ice and you can fight this guy, but you have mutual respect for each other and mutual goals in life. So even if you're playing against each other in juniors and you have a fight, and then the game's over and you go grab an ice cream after and talk about what you did well in the fight, what I did well in the fight, it just becomes such a love for the sport that you just accept everybody else into it. And hockey's another really weird thing where I've noticed, like at drop-ins, you'll get brand new people out there. And if I was a brand new guy that walked out into a basketball court at my gym where there's, Mike Doliak and Thurl Bailey and those guys are out there, you don't get the same treatment as, hey, come on in and we're going to pass you the ball every time. We're going to make you look good. But that's what happens at drop-in in hockey. Like, hockey is the most welcoming sport where everybody wants you. You want to try it? Come on out and try it. Just get open. I'm going to pass you the puck. I'm going to make you look good. And it's just a very cool community to be a part of. And most of my friends, like, I'm lucky because I'm a firefighter. I have a family with the firefighters, and then I have this crazy, unique brotherhood with all the hockey players in Utah and around the country that I've played with that I could call any minute, and I know they could come help me move or put me in a pickup game or whatever you need. You just create these special bonds with people just over the love of the game.
Jay Stevens joining us, Utah Puck Report, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You can catch that at KSLSports.com. The USA's been knocking on the door quite a bit and you can tell they were close. But to finally be the team that gets that gold medal, to finally be the team that knocks off Canada. So two-part here. Number one, winning the gold. What does that mean for United States hockey? And number two, is it even sweeter that you did it against Canada?
I'm going to start with number two first. It means everything that you did it against Canada. Scotty, you and I talked last week about how you wanted this major matchup, right? I kind of said I wouldn't mind them getting knocked off sooner just because they make me so nervous, because they are the best of the best. And we beat them at their own game, and that's huge for the U.S. And just to see that is so big. And keep in mind, a lot of people were not super pumped with how they built this roster. They were hoping you'd see, you wanted to see Clayton Keller more. You wanted to see Jason Robertson get a shot. And Cole Caulfield, who's one of the top players in the NHL, is an American playing in Montreal. These are players that are like leading the NHL in scoring, and they didn't make this roster. And Bill Guerin was pretty adamant about, and his example was, you got milk drinkers and you got whiskey drinkers, and we have a lot of whiskey drinkers on this team. And what he means is he's got blue collar guys that are going to go to the corner, they're going to go in front of the net, they're going to take a beating, and say whatever you want against the Tkachuk brothers. They did exactly what everybody wanted them to do. They got Canada off their game. They drew penalties. They scored goals. They got assists. They just did so much blue-collar work that's showing that's the map for us to be successful as a country moving forward. We got to have that kind of mentality, all the skill in the world, plus all the physicality. That's what USA Hockey is going to bring. And, yeah, we were close. Now we're there, and I think they've seen the roadmap on how to stay gold medal winners, hopefully, for the next couple of Olympics.
Well, there's obviously the build-up and then the game itself, but what may have been the most special moment was the team getting Johnny Gaudreau's kids and bringing them out to the pictures and the skate. I can tell you this, not a lot of tears, I would imagine, shed on that one, but just a really impactful moment and speaks really to what you said earlier about the way that hockey people take care of their own.
Yeah, and Johnny Gaudreau was just one of the nicest and best people in the game. Everybody that knew him loved him. Even our own Trevor Lewis got to play with him for a couple seasons, and their Trevor's dad and Johnny's dad got real close. It was really hard to watch that and not tear up, and you were hoping, because they had posted earlier that it was the Johnny's son's second birthday that day. And I was like, I bet they're there. And you just kind of wondered if they were going to do it. And you could see Matthew Tkachuk looking immediately into the stands, trying to get those kids out there and get the jersey out there. And to be in such an intense moment and such a relief moment, and it was so emotional to get to that point and to put yourself aside for a minute and remember that we wanted to pay respects to Johnny Gaudreau. It was just, that's a big thing for the Tkachuks to do, and for Werenski, who played with him in Columbus. It's one of those coolest moments of sports. It's always going to be amazing that the U.S. won the gold, and we had the miracle on ice. Now we have the magic on ice, is what they're calling it. I've heard.
Nice, I like it.
But when you look at that picture and you see those kids out there, you're going to remember what it's all about, and it's just the love of the game, the teamwork, and the love of your teammates.
So if there's been, games that I've covered or been at or called, like bowl games or NCAA tournament games or whatever the case is, and usually they'll bring around a ballot for, the most valuable player, and they'll say, if this team wins, who is your MVP, and if this team wins. So they'll bring around the fourth quarter, and so you write it in, and you give them two options because you want it to go to the best player on the winning team. However, Connor McDavid, in a losing cause, is named the MVP of the Olympic hockey tournament, so to speak. Is that surprising, or was he in fact the most valuable player, even though his team did not win a gold medal?
I didn't think he was the most valuable player. It didn't come down to that last game for me. I saw a lot of amazing character out there. I think he would have been in the running for sure. I did see from one of the other journalists that they had closed the ballots during the first period of the gold medal game, and that it didn't have that option of if this team wins, then this, and if the other team wins, then that. So I was a little disturbed by it, because after you watch that game and then you look at the save percentage of Connor Hellebuck and you watch the games that he won for the U.S., no soft goals, 0 soft play, and his save percentage is like 96, 97% throughout the tournament. It's just hard to think of somebody doing more to win a gold medal than Connor Hellebuck did. And you could go right down the U.S. roster. A lot of guys did amazing things, and same with Canada. But I think it should have came down to who won the gold medal, right? Because that's where the proof's in the pudding.
All right, so as a guy that's played goaltender, just give me the level of difficulty of Hellebuck's behind the back kind of stick save. Was that just a pray that you get a stick on it, or was there a lot of skill that went into it, or just a little bit of luck, or probably I got to imagine a good combination of both?
Well, that's the desperation move that all goalies make when they're beat to that side. If you're moving one way, the player goes the other way, and you're trying to get back the other way, but your momentum carries your lower body to the wrong side. You just desperately lay out and you bring your stick back, and 99% of the time it misses your stick and still goes in the net. But you do it out of desperation. I've made a couple of saves like that where it was mostly just a bad shot, probably, or maybe I just got, every squirrel gets fed every once in a while. So yeah, it's a desperation move, but you do work on it in practice. You do it all the time, and to see it work like that, and to have the strength too. It's not easy to stop that puck with your stick like that. You got to have the strength in your upper body, because you're also fighting the other stick too. There was still contact from the stick from Devon Toews as he was shooting that puck. So, I mean, just a phenomenal save and an exclamation point on what kind of a game Connor Hellebuck planned on having that day.
So this is an odd question, but I'm an odd guy. Can you do the splits? Like, is that dude was down there? Is that something you just drop into the splits on command?
Absolutely, yeah. Most goalies, especially younger goalies, can do the splits. I could do the splits from the time I was 15 up until, I don't even know when they went away. It was about 10, maybe 5 to 10 years ago.
Oh, you still got it in you, man.
Yeah, still doing it well into my 40s. But that being said, I'm getting a total hip replacement in a few weeks here too. So it comes at a cost. But yeah, most goalies can do the splits, and it comes in pretty handy especially if you can get flat and get pads across the whole bottom of the ice and cover the bottom of the net. It's a must-have for most goalies.
I can't imagine there's a lot of goaltenders over the age of 45 that aren't on a collision course for hip replacements.
Yeah, and the cool thing is they said my hips are going to be like brand new. So
yeah, there you go.
I figured I was thinking when I was starting to get this pain that I was going to have to retire pretty soon and not be able to play hockey anymore, which is my therapy. And they're like, nope, you're going to be good to go. So I'm figuring I got another 30, 40 years to go.
Nice. I like it.
Splits on command then.
After
the new hip.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask for looser hips this time, get some bionic put in there, and, make some banana sounds. And,
well, when you look at that hospital bill, you may feel like you're the $3 million man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you had to bring that part up. That's the sad part of it all.
Hey, you're the best, man. Thanks for your help. Great insight as always. And it's just been so much fun being able to chat hockey with you. And let's get this regular season back up and go and see if the Mammoths can stay on this hot streak.
Oh, they're good, and I got lots and lots of Mammoth stuff to talk about, so we'll have to chat soon.
You got it. There he is, Jay Stevens, host of the Utah Puck Report, KSLSports.com, and one of the best dudes on the planet. You talk about the quality of people that are hockey experts or hockey players. Jay Stevens fits that mold. All right, we got a little bit of breaking news about the Utah Jazz. We will give that to you coming up next. This is not a big surprise. I love the Jazz are doing this, by the way. Absolutely love it. We'll get Coach's thoughts on that here in just a minute. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, we got a little breaking news for the Utah Jazz. And I think it's important to note that it is Chris Haynes reporting this, not Shams. No, Chris Haynes tweeting out Utah Jazz starting center Jusuf Nurkic will undergo a surgical procedure on his nose on Wednesday that will sideline him for the remainder of the season, according to league sources. Said Nurk has experienced complications of breathing and sleeping since fracturing his nose a few years ago. And now they've decided, you know what? I think surgery is in his best interest. People don't understand. The Jazz haven't won a lot, but I don't think we can really talk about the impact that Nurk has had on this team enough.
No, absolutely. And I think when everybody saw it at face value last year, they thought the Jazz just gave Sexton away. There's nothing there. Nurkic is washed. And like Utah has been for a lot of guys, it kind of resurrected his ability to really play this game. He benefited from the spacing and the fact that he's a high-level facilitator. So if you just look at the numbers, and cleaning the glass is where I go for mine, which is a David Locke recommendation.
Yep.
The Jazz, where it really affects the Jazz, not so much offensively. The Jazz actually are 5 points per possession worse with Nurkic on the floor, but defensively they're 6 points better in points per possession, and he just has been great at manning the middle. He's not a shot blocker. He's not a guy that is going to go make plays above the rim, but his presence is felt. And, he's a big guy. And he's done a nice job at acclimating on the defensive end. So rebounding, particularly offensive rebounding, will take a hit. Points per possession defensively is going to take a hit. Teams probably get easier shots or closer into the rim because what you're looking at is basically Kyle Filipowski and Oscar Tshiebwe as your functioning fives.
Yeah.
So
I was just smiling.
Put that in your fine.
I was just smiling the Oscar Tshiebwe. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, you remember he was on the squad.
Yeah. No, it's like oh yeah, I remember him now.
That dude is a delight. You
Oscar?
want to talk about a guy who's grateful just to be.
Oh yeah.
One of the best human beings, and just like every day you see him, I'm so grateful. He's just a grateful guy.
As he should be.
Right.
Look, you bust your butt, you get an opportunity. Let's go. I look at the opportunity here for the Jazz, and it's like, look, if the Jazz were fighting for a playoff spot, if they were in the playoffs looking to increase their seed going into the playoffs, Jusuf Nurkic is still playing. I mean, let's be honest here. But the Jazz, I think, are like, okay, you want us to tank the old-fashioned way? Fine, we'll do it your way. You want us to go old school? And guess what? Nobody's going to blink an eye at this. Nobody's going to care about that. Everybody's like, all right, okay, we see what you're doing there. But heaven forbid they pull Nurkic out in the fourth quarter and don't let him play. Then you're messing with the integrity of the league. That's going too far. But just saying, no, he's going to have surgery on his nose, and he's having anybody that's in that room next to Nurkic, you hearing him snoring, he's affecting everybody. So, yeah, we're going to have that surgery now, and we'll have him back for next season.
We have to put him in the room by the elevator.
Did
where
they
nobody
make you?
Wants to be.
Did they make you guys bunk up?
No,
coaches at BYU
early on.
Yeah,
but we got out of that. Yeah,
yeah.
There were certain guys you keep your own room, dude.
I don't care if you have to take that on my check.
Exactly.
I get my own room.
My own room. I was just going to ask you this though. Do you feel like there's any more fines coming down generally from the NBA?
No.
Or do you think they're done fining?
I think that
they're doing it the right way now.
Yeah. Well, even though the Wizards did what the Jazz did and shut down a couple players in the fourth quarter, but I think the NBA made their point. They said, we're taking this very seriously, and the Jazz had to take the brunt of that because, I mean, it was an easy dog for Adam Silver to kick.
Because they can.
Yeah, and now it won't be a topic anymore. It won't because people will move on from it.
By the way, don't look now, but the Pelicans picked up a win over the weekend.
Yes, they did.
They did.
So this is a very important move.
And the Pelicans are coming to town for 2. So it'll be interesting to see the availability going forward.
Who wants it less, more? We'll find out.
It's the Who Wants It Less More Bowl, brought to you by Less More.
There you go. I mean, honestly, this is important stuff. Now, this is why, and I went on a bunch of tangents last week, Coach, but the Jazz have signaled to the NBA, we're done. Like, as soon as they pulled the trigger on that Jaren Jackson trade, it's like, all right, we're ready to go. We just need to finish off this year. We're just going to get to the end of this year, and then guess what? We're all in next year. But we got this A.J. DeBonsa guy playing down in Provo. He'd look really good on this roster. You know, like the Boozer kid would look very good on this roster. Like, there's a lot of talent in this next year's draft. The problem is they're going to implement these dopey rules that Adam Silver said, oh, you know, we're not putting up with this anymore. So they're going to have some rules. And then next year at the All-Star game, he's going to tell the rest of the league, like, these rules are working. Why? Because next year's draft stinks. And so nobody's really going to be tanking next year because there's not a lot of players out there as of right now that look to be worthy of serious tanking. Now, there was a lot of tanking going on for Victor for good reason. We've seen what he's doing in San Antonio. Cooper Flagg, he was worth tanking for. This entire draft, top 10 might be worth tanking for in this year's draft. Next year, if projections hold and it's not a great draft, it's not worth tanking for. So he's going to be like, yeah, it's working. And the GMs are like, yeah, it's working because we don't really want to be in the top 5 with this year with that draft.
That was a great observation because I've done all the drafts, and the one 2 years ago, it was kind of trying to decide Risa Shea or Sarr at the top. So that had dropped. You know, those guys are more like probably 8th to 10th at the top. So, yeah, it will be interesting because it is not as strong a draft class. I will just say this. When the NBA does come up with new rules, the teams will figure out a way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because that's just how it is. Like college basketball, you know. You couldn't buy a kid a car, but his uncle could buy him a car with money you gave his uncle. I mean, that's the way this thing all started to filter. So, again, aspire trees or whatever you have to do, people are going to figure out how to game the game. I just think it's rich that the 6 years I've sat here and watched teams just flat out noticeably tanking. You know, the Rockets did it for a good period of time. OKC built their whole deal on it.
Yeah. I mean, Philadelphia trusts the process.
Right. I mean, they're still trying to trust it, and Embiid's the process, so I wouldn't trust it. I mean, it's just how I feel. I mean, it goes back to Darren Peterson. How bad does a guy want to win? And that's what you got to figure out. But no, I'm intrigued. Jake and I talked about this the other night on post game. 25 more games, and a couple game cushion between where you need to be and where you are. And so I think the Jazz just need to do everything they can to protect their interests. And if part of that is getting a guy mended up that needs it, and you're going to do it 25 games early, let's go do it.
All right. Let's look ahead to next year, though. So assuming Walker Kessler comes back, restricted free agent, let's say whatever he gets, the Jazz match, or they're able to work something out before then. Walker Kessler, Jaren Jackson, Larry Markkinen, Ace Bailey, Keontae George, starting 5. And then, you throw in, top 5 draft pick into the mix and what else could be coming back. That to me is a playoff team next year.
And you know why it is because all of these guys have gone through this arduous process to get here.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about Keontae George was asked to play a position he never played in his life. And I'll be darned if it didn't now really help his cause because, he's scoring the ball. He's more efficient. But what's really stood out to me is how he's distributing the ball as another ball handler, another guy that can get it going. And so he did his work. Lauri Markkinen obviously has just figured out a way to step it up. And last year was a little bit of an odd season. I think just chemistry. We talked about chemistry with hockey. You had a team full of older veterans that were looking for an out and younger guys that were looking to figure out how to do this. And the mesh wasn't awesome. The difference this year is the mesh from the start because of Niang, Love, the guys they brought in the offseason, I think have really benefited them. And so where they sit now, you say that's the starting lineup, but reason Kyle Filipowski is in a position to be a guy who can be actually a really good backup for in this league is because he's put in the time and he's gone through these processes, and Will's put them in those spots. They've finished games, they've started games, they've had to be in crucial situations. So all of this time where everybody's like, oh man, this rebuild stinks. Well, it hasn't been fun, but there have been these little things happening. Yeah. If you understand how rosters are constructed, you're like, ooh, this is starting to look pretty good.
Well, and also too, and you hate to look at guys just like assets, but Filipowski or Isaiah Collier. I mean, you go down the list, like they are developing potential assets that could either be really beneficial for depth next year or pieces to help continue to build this team going forward.
And that's exactly right. So these last 25 games for guys who will be playing, a guy like Bryce Sensabaugh, Isaiah Collier, who had a phenomenal game. You mentioned he had 24 points, 9 assists, a guy that just keeps getting better and, challenging the narrative that a guy that can't shoot, can't play in this league, and he's showing nightly that he's pretty good at it. So he's hoping his shot can come around. You mentioned Flip. So it's just now, what do you have? What do these role guys bring? How do they fit? And are we going to move with them, or are we going to use what they can do to go actually get something that fits us a little better?
And that's a good problem to have.
For sure.
Yeah.
You want to be tweaking.
Yeah, exactly. The roster.
Tweaking the roster.
Yeah.
Not like Lloyd tweaks in there.
Me? Are you sure about that?
Oh, wait, that's somebody behind you. Sorry. I was seeing double.
Hey, all right, coming up next, another edition of Whole World News. Span the globe to try to find something that'll at least amuse Coach. And also coming up in the 2 o'clock hour, the Olympics are in the rearview mirror. How much did you enjoy it? How much did you watch? What was your level of consumption outside of the hockey team? We'll talk about that coming up in the 2 o'clock hour. That is Tim Lacombe. I'm Scott Gerard. Thanks for listening. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You're listening to Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, Whole World News as we span the globe to try to find, like, we talk sports all day, but every now and then we like to talk about what else is going on out there. You ready for this one?
Tell me a good one.
Okay. I think this will work for you. Let's go to East Hollywood, California.
You sure?
Yes, I believe so.
We're going by foot or car? Oh, wait, you're just going to, okay.
I'm going to take you there.
Perfect.
In your mind. It's like James Taylor in Carolina. Going there in your mind. All right. A traffic cam video has been released showing a naked man running through the scene of a serious crash. Los Angeles police say the streaking man seen in the video was driving one of the two vehicles involved in the crash. It happened at the Normadale Avenue where it meets with Santa Monica Boulevard. I don't think that, what's her name? Santa Monica Boulevard.
Sheryl Crow.
Sheryl Crow was thinking about this when she sang the song. Multiple people are injured. Bad accident. But the guy who initiated the contact in this intersection immediately fled the scene, and he was completely naked. So he was driving a car completely naked, caused a crash at this intersection, and thought, what should I do next? Well, I'm going to get out of this car, and I'm going to sprint and get as far away from here as possible because the dude was buck naked. He was the one, according to the officer, he's the one that caused the accident. He was going through a red light, and as soon as the accident happened, he ran out of the vehicle and fled the scene. Police said one person was taken to the hospital in critical condition. The naked man has been arrested. Officers believe he shockingly was under the influence when this happened. He is expected to be charged with felony hit and run and DUI. And indecent exposure.
That's the trifecta.
And not the that was indecent proposal. Sorry.
We call that the East Hollywood trifecta.
Yeah.
Right there.
Sounds like he handles pressure situations well.
Well, it actually brings a story to mind from my youth.
Okay, do tell.
1977, Dateline.
All right.
American
The
Fork,
year of
Utah.
Tim.
In American Fork. All right.
Like 6 or 7 years old. And there's one main road from American Fork up to Highland. Okay,
this is
back before these people aspired to live in this.
It's probably a little farmland back in the day.
A lot of farmland. In fact, when you went to American Fork Junior High and people asked where you were from, you just said American Fork because you'd say Highland and like, where's that?
Yeah,
it's just right up here.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
this is where now all the BYU former athletes go when in their multi-level marketing schemes and stuff.
Yes, the McMansions.
Yes.
So anyhow, road runs down from Main Street. It's called First East to American Fork. It goes up the hill all the way into Highland and then Alpine. On that road, there are various houses, and I had a friend lived right on the road, and we had one of those little inflatable pools, and so we were out in his front yard. I was 6 or 7, and we thought, "Hey, let's strip our trunks off and moon people as they come by on the highway." No, we really did. So, I went first and saw a semi coming and went ahead and gave him the biz. And just like that, dude, ran for my life. Just like him. He ran through the crime scene butt naked. I did too.
Yeah.
And his mother happened to see me, who called my mother.
Uh-oh.
And when I got home, I got the East Hollywood trifecta from Mom.
So you got the family felony charges.
Yes, I did. Grounded without cause or with cause.
With cause.
For a week. And the Hardings, Joan Harding, she put me in that position.
All right. So had you just stayed there, jumped back in the pool, put the trunks back on, you probably would have been fine.
Safe, but it was running past the that sliding window gets you every time.
Yeah. When Mom's out there cooking dinner and she sees the neighbor kid running naked across the yard, she's like, I should probably call his mother.
I'm sure I had red cheeks up top, and then everything else that gave me away. It was too white.
Wasn't a lot of tanning going on back then.
Not for the young kid, no. You just spent all day out. You see, you had plenty of tan.
Oh yeah, you had the old farmer's tan going on.
Right.
Yeah. But those trunks came off. It was all white. All right. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.